Elegant, relentless, and deeply cursed. Malenia, Blade of Miquella, isn't just one of Elden Ring's most iconic bosses. She is a martial artist whose style was shaped by divinity, forged in tragedy, and perfected through endless, merciless war. But how would her technique hold up outside of the lands between, in the harsh reality of real-world swordplay? Let's break it down. Malenia's fighting style is a direct response to two overwhelming forces, the decay of her body and the burden of divine inheritance. And yes, before you ask, her parents are the same person. Don't think about it too hard. Born of Queen Marika and her other self Radigan, Malenia came into the world already afflicted with the Scarlet Rot, a grotesque fusion of degenerate disease and divine corruption. It didn't just eat away at her body, costing her her eyesight and, well, an arm and some legs. It threatened to consume her entire identity. But Malenia's will was iron. Denied brute strength, she honed a technique that was precise, fluid, and adaptable. She had to. Every battle was fought not just against enemies, but against herself. Every step she took was a defiance of her weakness. Every strike, an act of survival. Her swordplay is rooted in speed, misdirection, and agility. She refined her movements into a deadly dance, not just to counter external foes, but to resist the raw gnawing at her from within. Her style is survival in motion, graceful, yes, but sharpened by necessity. It's said that she trained under the legendary Blind Swordman, the very one who once sealed away the outer god of Rot. Her mentor stood as living proof that even when confronted with cosmic corruption, discipline and skill could push anything back. Even when your obstacle is a sentient disease god trying to possess you, there is still a glimmer of hope that she could prevail. Malenia's martial arts isn't just about fighting, it's about resistance. She fights her own body, her own fate, her own fading sense of self. Each step she takes is a refusal to surrender. Each swing of her blade is a denial of the destiny that sought to make her nothing more than a vessel of some foreign god. She is unflinching. In combat, she has already accepted her death. Not just the death of her body, but the slow erosion of her identity. That knowledge, that quiet inevitability, makes her all the more terrifying. I am Malenia, Blade of Miquella, and I have never known defeat. Malenia's martial arts is not realistic, but it is emotionally real. It is a haunting fusion of desperation, discipline, and decay. And despite every disadvantage, every wound, every moment she's teetering on the edge of obliteration, she rose to become one of the most powerful warriors the lands between has ever known. So, how practical is Malenia's martial arts in real-world sword fighting? Surprisingly, more than you'd expect, at least compared to most other bosses. Sure, she's got her fair share of anime-level, physics-defying acrobatics, looking at you Waterfowl dance, but many of her grounded movements are actually rooted in practical combat mechanisms. She can guard counter, feint, and adjust her distance with precision, and even parry attacks, all concepts that you would find in real sword fighting. She fights with timing, spacing, and tactical intent. But she also does a few things that would, let's be honest, get her wrecked in a real duel. First, she kicks and grabs without making blade contact, which is a risky move. She swings her massive weapon with one hand the entire time. It's really painful, trust me. I tried, and my shoulders, arms, wrist, all of it hurts. Please, don't do it. And the prosthetic mechanism that shifts the sword length, it looks cool, but in reality it would jam, snap, and she would be disarmed pretty quickly. Then again, Elden Ring removed weapon durability, so what do I know about mechanical mech arms? Anyways, time for the moveset recreation in real life. Hope you enjoy. So, no, you can't just copy-paste Malenia's moves in a real fight, but what can we take away from this? For me, Malenia represents grace under pressure, precision in adversity, and she will always keep on going, even when everything, including herself, is falling apart. I think, in the end, that's more respectful than any of the fake anime stuff that she does. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Malenia's martial arts, give it a like, subscribe for more, and drop a comment below. Let me know if you want me to break down some other bosses from Elden Ring. No promises on covering any over-the-top anime bosses, please. But I might go back to circling to older bosses such as some Dark Souls 2 fights, so what do you think? See you next time.
Heed my words. I am Malenia, Blade of Miquella. And I have never known defeat.